So what do the
Funk Soul Brother, check it out now. The Funk Soul Brother.
and his lesser-known cousin
Back once again for the renegade master. Default damager, power to the people's back once again for the renegade master.
have anything to do with you as a creative entrepreneur?
Well, I had a dream recently that connects all these random things together.
And it's been having a pretty profound effect on the way that I show up as an entrepreneur. And I want to share it with you because I think it'll benefit you too. So it took place in a spot kind of like this. In the dream, I happened to be there because I was attending this event hosted by this guy named Ryan Daniel Moran. He wrote this book right here. So Ryan's on stage and he's giving this speech to budding entrepreneurs like you and me. And it went a little something like this. The journey that entrepreneurs take is not a particularly easy one, and yet somehow it still gets glamorized on social media. The thing that I need you to be aware of is that as you are continually on this journey, you always need to be asking yourself, what part of me needs to die? And at this point, everybody in the audience was shocked, particularly because Ryan comes off as a pretty positive guy. So to hear him use death as a metaphor like that was kind of left field. And then when he noticed the audience's discomfort, he continued by saying, I know it's a morbid concept, but hear me out. In order to make continuous progress on your journey, there is chapter after chapter that you move through, usually marked by your earnings, where you have to take on a new set of beliefs in order to get you to the next chapter. But what we forget to consider is what part of you needs to die first in order to make room for the new beliefs to take hold. You cannot move on without letting go of beliefs that no longer serve you. It doesn't work that way. And I was so overwhelmed by how provocative that question was that I ended up waking myself up. I just sat in bed, remembering the full emotion of that dream and just pondering what that question meant. But then, lo and behold, 2 weeks later, I ended up getting super sick. Like, stuck in bed, feeling as if I was nearly dying kind of sick. Sound familiar? And that, compounded with a family emergency that I had to deal with, created a situation where for 3 months I was totally sideswiped. Specifically, I had to take a pause from making any kind of significant progress on my business, Creative Warriors, which included shooting videos for this channel. Now, videos are the main driver of sales for my business, so being unable to make videos meant that I also lost a lot of momentum in generating sales. So those 3 months where everything just went forced me to reconsider the way that I approach everything. Now, fortunately, I was still able to make some progress on things that didn't require a whole lot of physical energy, like, for example, writing scripts. But unfortunately, that's the kind of progress that happens behind the scenes. And that is different from actual publishing, which happens in public. It's the big reveal. It's what I get to share with you. But what the dream and getting sick got me to realize is that maybe I don't have to work on such huge, epic scales all of the time. Also, maybe that progress doesn't always have to happen entirely in private. Hence the reason why I'm so excited about this creative ownership series, so I can share more behind the scenes progress with you as it happens. Basically, what I came to realize is the part of me that needs to die, which is so hard because it's so deeply ingrained, is because I'm so passionate about building a high quality brand. I believed that in order to do that, I could only ever publish super high quality content. So I had to find a way to get over my own snobbery of what quality actually means. Let me break this down for you so you can apply the dream to your own journey. 4 simple questions. Question number 1 is, where have you noticed that you've been stagnant, and where have you seen an undesired behavior on your behalf? So for example, in my case, it was not publishing to the public as often as I wanted to be, as often as I knew that I needed to be. Question number 2 is, you want to take a look at what is the underlying belief that is driving that behavior. And the belief that was holding me back was that everything that I do has to be of a super high standard, and that meeting those standards takes a lot of time. Question number 3 is to question that belief and poke as many holes in it as possible. what I came up with was, what does quality even mean? And does it really take as much time as I'm assuming? There are actually so many different ways to quantify quality. Instead, I could pick and choose specific aspects of quality to focus on. There are ones that do take less time and yet still allow me to create a depthful connection. And the last question is, what is the new belief that you're putting into place to drive the actually desired behavior? And this brings us back to Fatboy Slim. So in the music industry, there is this term called deep cuts. And that stands in contrast to singles, which are radio friendly, they're crowd pleasers. If you like enough of the singles from a particular artist, you can dive deeper into their repertoire and discover more of the songs that are lesser known. These are the ones that are known as deep cuts. Bringing us back to Fatboy Slim. One of his most famous singles is The Rockefeller Skank, otherwise known as
Funk Soul Brother.
But if you really dug deep into his catalog, you would eventually come across,
The renegade master.
which technically isn't even a song from him, it's a remix that he did for another artist. So I'll have my singles, if you will, which will be these more epic scale kind of productions that will only happen 2 to 4 times a year. Whereas with my deep cuts, if you will, I've thought a lot about how I can pare down production and make it a lot easier so I can produce them once or twice a month. And all of that is in service to getting to my desired behavior of publishing publicly more often. I created a worksheet that you can download using the link in the description below so you can work through what you need to let go of in order to create something meaningful.